Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode on the podcast. Today, I'm joined with Saskia, and this is going to be a really awesome episode. We're going to be speaking about ulcerative colitis journey, and yeah, going to talk about like now till diagnosis, IBD. So yeah, would you mind introducing yourself?
Oh, thank you, Mason, and thank you ever so much for doing such an amazing show. My name's Saskia. I'm a multi-award-winning innovator, podcast host, and artist, and I work across the music and entertainment industry.
Brilliant, because I know you had me on yours, so
Yes.
I thought I'd let you come on mine.
Thank you ever so much, and I really love the collaborations, and thank you for being a guest on my show because you was absolutely awesome, and that'll be
Yeah.
out in a few weeks as well. So thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant. But before we got in touch, I didn't actually realise you had ulcerative colitis. So,
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I call it irritable bowel syndrome because I think that's what I got diagnosed with.
Okay.
I was a teenager when I first noticed I was having problems with my tummy.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't know what it was. It was when I was eating certain foods, but not just certain foods. Every time I was getting stressed out, I'd get really bad cramps in my belly. And it'd be quite sharp, shooting pains. And sometimes I'd be really, really in quite a lot of pain. So I went to the doctors, and she told me that I had irritable bowel syndrome. So I said to her, "What actually is irritable bowel syndrome?" And she said to me, "It's where you've got inflamed, digestive tract, and certain foods and stress sometimes as well can cause it. And certain environments that you put yourself in give you that kind of feeling of stress or tension, and anxiety. And I think, your stomach is also linked to your brain, from what I heard. And I think, your stomach and your brain are quite closely lined.
yeah.
And I think, I was going through quite a lot of problems as a teenager with anxiety, depression, and also living with my grandparents. And I'd lost my grandma at quite a young age as well. So I think, when I went to my doctor, she said a lot of the stress that you're getting is going to your stomach, and that's why you're getting these problems. Yes, I've had it for quite a while.
Yeah. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, it flares up. You have moments where it's absolutely fine and you wouldn't even know you had it. And then at other times it does hit you and you're just like, oh my goodness, and it can kind of affect you going to the toilet, feeling pain, not eating or watching what you have to eat. And then sometimes you can eat and it doesn't affect you. So I think, for me, mine's kind of on and off, but I haven't really figured out how that is yet. But I think for me, the majority of it comes from stress and certain foods like spicy food, really, really spicy food, is not good for me. And beef. I remember my doctor said to me, because every time I had a beef burger,
Yeah.
my stomach would be in pain as well. So I just thought, oh, maybe it's certain foods that actually my body can't digest properly or something. I don't know.
It's annoying, isn't it? It
Yeah,
is
really
annoying.
irritating at times. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm the same. Spicy foods, I stay away from them.
Yeah, I do like a little bit of flavor. Don't get me wrong. I have to have a little bit of flavor, but it can't be too spicy. It just can't be.
I loved it before I was diagnosed with Crohn. I loved spicy foods.
Yeah.
I would used to have a kebab every so often, and I would put all the chili sauce over it,
Oh, right.
uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'd have a nice people thought I was mad, but I'd have a
Mm.
nice sensation of just having water every 5 seconds, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
the morning wasn't pleasant though.
Oh, bless you.
But
Oh.
I don't know, it was just fun, fun on a Saturday night. Um,
I think a lot of us do that, don't we, on a Saturday night, a little kebab or stuff. We've all done it, so don't worry too
yeah.
much.
But if I got it now, I would just have a small pot of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Maybe have a few chips in it,
Yeah.
but no, I do miss the spicy foods. But it's if they affect us and they hurt us, there's
Yeah.
no
Then you've got
point.
to watch what you eat, haven't you? Because people do also say you are what you eat. And I really believe in that. So, what you put into your body is really, really important. And watching that and making sure, things are okay, but only in a certain moderation, not having too much of a certain thing, because that's also another bad thing for me. I've noticed if I eat too much of a certain thing, that can also trigger me off.
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
there's a stigma around food. I think with IBD and uh, about how people like people always say to you that you should eat healthy and that's the
Yeah.
answer to everything, but it's
Mhm.
not because some people can't have fruit or
Right.
vegetables that affects
Right.
them, and they can have. I don't know, that they could go to McDonald's and they'll be fine. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
hard because we're all different of what we can
right.
eat, and
Yeah.
there's no right thing to eat, I think.
That's why it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because one thing might affect you and it wouldn't affect me.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's also about having a prevention technique or being a bit more aware of how, your illness affects you, and watching what you eat and how you feel after you've eaten is a really good indicator for me. Is that okay for me? Is that, does that agree with me personally?
Yeah, I lived on chicken when I was getting diagnosed. It's the only
Yeah,
thing I could probably eat. Couldn't eat
right.
anything else.
Okay.
And yeah, I lived on chicken, and I couldn't wait for the day where I could eat something else.
I don't mind fish, but I'm not really a fan of too much meat. I do,
Yeah.
now and again have a little bit of chicken, but I do find fish is a lot easier for my body to digest and handle as well. Yeah.
Is that any particular fish or just
Oh, I like my sea bass. I do like a bit of salmon, and I do like sardines and mackerels, but the ones in the little can, and sometimes they've got the little sauce and stuff with it. But I can't just have the oily ones. And I've also noticed if food is really greasy, that's no good for me either, for my belly, because it
okay?
goes through me and it affects, going to the toilet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The toilet isn't fun, is it? Sometimes.
No, and that's another thing, isn't it, with the IBS? Sometimes you could be traveling, or you could, and no, I think that's been another way of me realizing is when I've gone to a different country, I've tried different foods, or I've
Mm.
tried a different water, even. Sometimes that's even triggered me off, and I've been on the toilet for like days and I couldn't get away from the toilet. So that's also another one, and I'm literally stuck there. So that's been a bit irritating at times, but I've got used to it.
Yeah, especially if you maybe have a set plan, like we spoke about scheduling before we started
Yeah,
certain things. But I think that works. Maybe not everyone, but it works maybe for me when going to the toilet now.
yeah,
With having Crohn's, like maybe before I didn't, because before I was diagnosed, it's weird because I would always go to the toilet in the evening,
oh,
um,
yeah, yeah,
for like a number two, and then
yeah.
now it's in the morning, so it's changed.
Okay. And
It's
they do say if you go to the toilet once a day, that's supposed to be healthy. But if you go to the toilet more than once a day, that's not supposed to be so healthy. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that because with people maybe who have a condition that make them go.
Yeah.
Um, they might have to, but I know I've heard people right that go. People said to me, "I only go once a week."
Oh, wow. I've
Once a
never
week.
done that before.
I did remind, did remind. I think that is surely unhealthy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I I've always gone probably in my life. I don't know about you, but I've always gone at least once a day.
Yeah, I think, do you know what? I've gone at least once a day, but there has been times where there's been blood in my stools, or it's been a bit runny, or the consistency or the color hasn't been quite right. And I think also to check that, because I think that's also a sign. Because, I think that's one of the things why I thought I'd better go to the doctor is because one day I went to the toilet and I noticed blood. And then I started panicking and I thought, oh, if I got something, if I got cancer, if I got this, I got that. And I started panicking. And I think that's what originally caused me to go to the GP and think, because I kept getting belly aches. Then I was getting, blood in my poo. So I thought I'd better go and check that out. And that's how I found out.
Yes, it's hard, isn't it, when you see
Yeah.
that blood for the first time?
Very scary at times because you think, oh my goodness, if I got colon cancer, I'm quite a drama queen. So I over exaggerate sometimes and think, oh my God, I've got this, I got that, and I'm dying. But thank the Lord it was okay. I was okay. And it's a manageable thing. I think it's got quite a stigma attached to it because it's got the word disease added on the end. And I think that also scares quite a scary word sometimes because you think, oh my God, I've got something, and it's kind of an autoimmune disease, so you can't help it. And it's kind of your body fighting against your own body, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tough. It is really tough because you could go a little while without maybe no blood, and then it just appears.
Yeah, yeah, that's totally true. It's not all the time. And I think it's when you notice it for the first time that I think is probably the most scary. But if you
Yeah,
do notice something that's not quite right, I would recommend just going to your GP. And I think they can even do a little sample where you can just put a little bit in a sample and they send it away as well.
yeah, because there's different, I guess, ways you can have blood.
Yeah,
How they are. Like me, we all get used to it after a while,
yeah,
and there's reasons behind it. But
yeah.
it, but yeah, it's not something we're gonna blot out to the odd person, is
And
it?
it's
But
a personal, private thing, but because it's
uh,
you, Mason, and it's your podcast, and we're quite open. And I've known you for a bit now. I'm quite open to speak to you, and I
yeah,
feel in a safe environment where I can be me. So
yeah,
thank you for providing that.
awesome. So with your ulcerative colitis, so you said you were diagnosed when you was a teenager.
Yeah,
Like, was this the first time you heard of it, or have you
yeah.
heard of it before?
I'd never heard of it before, actually. I had heard of what's the one where people can't eat certain, they have to have a certain a bread. I think it's what's it called?
Is that gluten?
Yeah, that's it, gluten free. So I've heard of that one. Like, when people say they've got to have their celiac or I think something
Oh
else,
yeah,
I've heard those ones, but I'd never heard of IBS or irritable bowel syndrome. I hadn't heard of any of those ones. Um, so for me, it was quite a new thing. I'd never heard of it, no. And I was kind of like, what is it? And why did I catch it? And I think, maybe it's hereditary or maybe it was stress factors. I'm not 100% sure how I got it, but yeah, that's what they said.
yeah. So, what was it more IBS to start with that brought on ulcerative colitis, or was it the other way around?
I think that's a really good question. I don't know about the colitis bit because for me the IBS has kind of been the main thing. I haven't been
Uh,
diagnosed with anything else, so I think I'm more on the IBS side of it. But with the colitis itself, I haven't been, that hasn't been told to me I have that, so I can't really state that one.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you just think you have it then? Is that what it is?
I don't even know if I think I have it. I think I have to watch what I eat and I have to be careful. And I think, knowing that I've got irritable bowel syndrome is also something that I have to watch and be aware of and watch what I
Mm,
eat and watch my diet and how I feel afterwards. But with the actual colitis itself, I don't think because I think maybe that's a little bit more severe than what I have, but maybe it's on a
yes,
spectrum again. So yeah.
yes, because it's very different. IBD and IBS.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know that. See, I learn stuff all the time. So maybe
Yeah,
I make mistakes. I've also got dyslexia, so
yeah.
sometimes I even get my words crossed and
I
things.
yeah, I
Oh,
understand it. I understand this. I always get confused with dyslexia and dyspraxia because they sound so different, so sound the same.
yeah,
But yeah, I understand that. But yeah, because that's another stigma thing, right?
mm,
Because some people, if they don't know, will
yeah,
presume IBS and IBD is the same. But they do have similarities,
yeah.
but that like IBS and IBD,
Okay,
like I don't know as much about IBD. IBS probably you because
yeah,
you have
yeah.
I don't. Um, and the other way around for the other thing.
Yeah, and it's always good to learn as well about it and understand a little bit more because I love, like I said to you before, I really like supporting underrepresented, disadvantaged communities, and I'm also learning all the time. And for me, it's all a learning curve. Life is a learning curve, and we're all different, which is beautiful. But I love to support other people, and I love to learn more and love to understand more. And having these topics, I think, is really engaging, especially for the younger generations, so they can understand in a digestible way and understand from real lived experience rather than, sometimes you check on the internet or you look at something and it gives you these really bad horror stories or
Yeah.
really scary stuff. And then you're just like, oh my God, have I got this? Oh my God, have I got that? And then you start panicking because I'm one of them. So yeah, I think this is a really good place to start. And, obviously you're educating people, you're inspiring people, as you said earlier, but you're also informing people, which I think is great. So yeah, keep up
Yes.
the amazing work.
Very important. Very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Because in past I had people on maybe about autism. I did,
Yeah.
and people were talking about it not as they should.
Yeah, well, there's some stigma attached around that
Yeah.
because I used to work in an autistic unit. Funny enough, when I was going to university, I worked at a Skills for Life centre in Oxford, and we had, I think it was 18 to 24-year-olds, and they were learning basic life skills. So we used to take people to the gym, take people shopping, learn how to manage money. It was really fun, and I loved it. We go swimming, play on the drums, do some music. It was great, and I really enjoyed being in the autistic unit at the college because everyone was so kind, so accepting, and I just got treated like I don't know. People treat me really nice in there. I felt a bit at home, to be honest.
Oh, that's
Felt really,
brilliant.
yeah,
That's lovely. That is.
And that's how I first come across autistic people and understood that there was a spectrum and understood how creative and intelligent autistic people really are. And I've got big love in my heart for people with autism.
Yeah, it's I love that.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you. Well, I think you're all great.
yeah, I actually just come out of a meeting talking about autism actually.
Yeah. Autism's now being talked about a lot more than it used to be. And I think there is still this stigma and, people judging behind the scenes. But I think, the more education and awareness people have, the more understanding they become, but also learning how to support people that are autistic to go back into the workplace, to take part in society and be themselves because it's really, really important.
Yeah, it is. There's so many important things
Yeah.
about it, and like anything, there's going to be positive and not so
Negative.
positives.
Yeah, and negatives, unfortunately. But you know what it is? It's about learning how to cope with them, how to manage with some of the negative parts, but also changing hearts and minds. I think is really important. And this is what you're doing on the podcast too, you know.
Yes,
So
yes.
well done.
Even if I always try to talk about anything just to raise awareness and to
Yeah.
show you sort of like you are today.
Yeah. And also people sometimes might feel on their own or they might feel like they're the only person. Because I felt like that when I was growing up sometimes. You didn't really
Yeah,
meet someone with the same diagnosis or that was going through the same thing. So, now we've got the internet, you can just type it in and people can find it. And it's really, really interesting and it's really informative. So keep doing the work you do because this is great.
yeah. When I was diagnosed with Crohn's, I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't really. It was just like you've got it. You can go home
Yeah.
with a leaflet.
Right. Did they actually treat you in a hospital? Because I remember one time they also told me that I had to swallow this drink because I don't know, there was something wrong with my digestion as well. And I had to
Yeah.
swallow this horrible drink. I don't know what it was, like a clay drink.
Oh
And
yeah.
then and then they take these pictures, like X-ray you as you're drinking the drink. I can't remember what it was called now, but it was absolutely awful. I'd never do that
I
again.
know. I know. There's a procedure called a colonoscopy where you have to drink a drink and you
Oh,
have
it's
to
horrible.
you empty your insides.
Horrible. Don't. Oh, it's horrible. I've done it.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
you empty your insides and they stick a camera up down your throat and up your bum.
That's horrible.
And
Yeah, done that. It
I've
wasn't
done
very.
it.
It was not pleasant. Yeah, I had to do that at a hospital as well. You've got to go into the actual
Yeah.
hospital and do that.
I
Yeah.
I remember that's how I got diagnosed. I had one of them.
Right,
Um,
okay. See, mine
and
didn't go that far. They didn't do that with me to diagnose me. I think I was having problems with obviously my bowels, but also with swallowing because I noticed sometimes food was getting stuck in like the top bit here. So
right.
they did all these checks for me and they did all sorts. I can't remember now, but it was not nice.
Mhm.
It wasn't nice.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the research probably now to back then is much better, I'd say. Um, yeah, because there's a whole community out there now.
yeah. 100%. And I also think, a lot more women are being diagnosed than they used to be because I think a lot of people were basing it around, the male body and understanding
Right.
female bodies as well and understanding other people that might not necessarily be male, and bringing awareness to that as well is really, really important. So I think, more people are now coming forward and a bit more curious, and with education becomes awareness, and with awareness becomes understanding. And I think that's where people are becoming more aware of what they might have as well.
That's really good. Opening them to other people so they can get diagnosed as well.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because people, it's hard to get diagnosed now with anything.
Well, this is it. I know. Like I've gone to the doctor several times for different things, and the waiting queues are just enormous. And if you haven't got the money to pay for it, it can be awful, awfully long, and it can be a real struggle for people waiting for that care because there's no other option for them. Do you know what I mean? Apart from waiting on a list, and that can be quite brutal as well. So I've been there.
Yeah, it takes time
Yeah.
because you've got to get people's approval.
Yeah, and you've got to go through different stages. So then you've got to go to your GP, then you've got to get referred on to a what do you call it, a clinician. Then you've got to see a specialist, and then you've got to go back again for tests. And then they will send you a letter back, and then you finally get diagnosed. So yeah, it does take a while, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's annoying. It is
Yeah,
annoying.
yeah.
So I remember when I was getting diagnosed with the Crohn's, and it took a lot of pushing to even get an appointment.
Oh, bless you. And did you get
Yeah.
diagnosed in London? Or... Or where did you, because you're
No,
just outside London, aren't you? So did you
no,
have to see a specialist? And,
I didn't. I got diagnosed from a hospital where I live, so
okay, so
um,
yeah, any hospital can do it because that's what I wasn't too sure. Because for me,
yeah,
I think you have to go and see a specialist. Who deals with your bowels? It's not urology.
yeah,
It's
gastro.
yeah, that's it. Gastro something. Yeah, I had to go and see a gastro specialist somewhere. Yeah, I've seen a few different ones.
Yeah,
Just yeah.
yeah. Well, my one doesn't like to see me because he only wants to see me on the yearly checkup
Oh,
because
okay. Well, at
because
least you're getting a yearly checkup because I think
yeah,
most people they don't even get that anymore. You
yeah,
know, suppose
because
you're lucky in that respect.
he'll say if I see him in between, something's wrong.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So you know
uh,
it's your call. If Mason, if I don't know for Mason in the year, Mason's doing well.
yeah.
Mason's managing. And I think
But
that's also part of it, isn't it? Managing with your diagnosis and learning how to manage.
but I have actually seen him, but in between because
Okay.
I have had some troubles over
Oh,
the
I'm sorry to
months.
hear that. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but that's all right.
You're right now though, aren't you?
I guess a bit up and down, up and down.
Yeah, I think I'm like that sometimes though. I'm up and down like a yo-yo sometimes. But you know, I think as we get older, I think we can manage with it a little bit better than what
Mm,
I did as a teenager because I didn't really know how to manage it. And I think as I've had that diagnosis for a while now, I've definitely learned how to deal with it better, for
good.
sure.
It's good. It is good that you deal with that diagnosis, whatever it may be.
Yeah,
Like because like although you say like IBS, but what you're saying me about like blood in stools and like pain in stomach
yeah,
that is IBD. In my case, that's maybe a bit of IBD there because
yeah.
I've experienced that.
Okay, so
Um,
maybe there's a
so
crossover with that as
maybe
well.
you have a bit of both
Maybe. Yeah,
because
possibly.
they are
Yeah.
very different, IBD and IBS, but they are very similar in
Well, there you go.
ways.
I thought they were actually the same. So there's me and my
Yeah, they're not the
dyslexia
same. They're not
thinking
the
that they're
same.
the same. So that's my fault. So
They're,
apologies. That's me thinking they're all the same.
yeah,
I think, oh yeah, this sounds the same. It looks the same, but they're clearly not the same. So thank you
no.
for teaching me that, Mason.
Because when I was at college, they said to me, apparently milkshakes or certain smoothies help people with IBS, and they
Yeah.
said to me, presuming that I had IBS too because I had IBD, so they
Okay.
thought it was the same. And I said, no, I can't have that. If I have that, I'll be in pain because I couldn't have anything at that point. So a
Right.
milkshake will probably make a
I
problem.
can have dairy and actually quite like yogurts and dairy food. I find that actually settles my stomach pretty well. So I think that's probably where the difference stays with me is I can
Yeah.
actually, I love dairy. I must say I do like milkshakes and milks and stuff. That doesn't give me bad belly.
I do have a yogurt
Yeah, I like
after
yogurts.
dinner.
They're nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I love my favorite flavors are coconut and vanilla.
Oh, lovely. My favorite, oh, that's a nice mixture actually. Mine's going to be strawberry and I also like chocolate chip mint.
Oh,
Remember chocolate chip mint? I don't really see
yeah.
it much anymore.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like a nice trifle sometimes.
Oh yeah, like a trifle. I do indeed. I love my puddings. I'm a sweet tooth. I could be here all day with sweets.
Yeah,
Don't get me started.
you just go to it. If you ever go to out to something to eat, you'll enjoy the desserts more.
Yeah, that's what I want first.
Yeah. Some places you can.
Yeah, I know.
Like
My mum would be like that as well. She
go to
likes her stuff.
Casper's. Been to
Yeah.
Casper's?
No, I haven't.
That's a
No.
dessert place.
Oh, is it? Nice. I'll have to
Lot,
try it. I'll have a little
lot,
look.
lot of calories in there though. If you look at the menu.
I'm all right. I'm not that fat, am I? Come on
No,
now.
no, I just mean in general. Like if you just look at it,
I,
like
I need to put on a bit of weight.
yeah,
Honestly, I think I'm a bit too skinny sometimes. I'm like,
yeah,
no wonder I feel the cold. I'm like a bag of bones. No, I'm
yeah.
joking.
We like they have pancakes, ice
I
cream.
love my pancakes and waffles. I like
Yeah, they
waffles.
got pancakes and waffles.
Lovely, lovely.
They've got lots. I mean, I went I went a few years ago, and I
Yeah.
went with one of my friends, and he got lots. He got like double me, and
Okay.
I
Is
only
it
got
reasonable price?
yeah. I think he probably paid. It's quite expensive maybe for one.
Yeah.
Depends what you want really.
Yeah,
Um,
okay. So you can just go in there and choose like a big menu and you just choose what you want.
yeah, you can either sit in or take it
Oh,
away.
that's nice. I think we've got one of those down by us, but it's called cakes or something like shakes and cakes or something. And it's kind of like waffles and pancakes, and you can get like gelato, but I prefer ice cream. And I've tried it before, and the ice cream doesn't taste the same. I'm just like, oh, this isn't nice.
Yeah, I love ice cream and jelly.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, now you're reminding me of when I was younger, when we was at
yeah,
school, we used to have parties and ice cream and jelly. I love it. Reminds me of when we was at school.
like my mum, she just does it all the time now, and having ice cream and jelly,
Nice. What's your favorite flavor jelly then?
probably raspberry or strawberry.
Okay. Yeah, I like raspberry. I do like a bit of lime now and again, though. A lime jelly is quite
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's tangy. It's got a bit, like a little bit of a nice taste to it.
Like blackcurrant.
Oh, yeah. Black currant's nice and an orange jelly as well. I haven't had one of them in years.
Yeah, orange is a bit underrated.
Yeah, they used to put the fruit, if you remember, they used to actually get the fruit and then
Oh
put that
yeah, I
in your
remember
body.
that.
Yeah, do you remember?
That,
Yeah.
that makes me feel
Fruit on
old.
top of some ice cream and then watch the ice cream melt and then just, Oh, you're making me hungry now,
Yeah,
Mason.
have some peaches in there.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Oh, peaches and
Yeah,
cream, lovely. Do you remember the flan they used to do? You get the peaches on top of the flan, put a bit of cream on top. Yummy,
yeah,
yummy.
yeah. I remember. Yeah, I mean,
Do yeah. God,
yeah,
you brought back some memories now. See,
yeah,
I love this podcast. This is good, but you're
yeah,
making me hungry.
yeah,
Talking about food.
yeah, yeah. But it's good we could all have that though.
Yeah. Well, you've got to have a little bit of, treat in your life somewhere along the lines, even if it
Yeah,
is sugar and it's not great for you, but it's only a little treat.
yeah. Only a treat. A treat. Have maybe one treat a week or something.
Well, I think I'll have a few more than that, but yeah, maybe three.
Yeah, yeah. A free, free.
Maybe 3 treats a week, one little sweet and a couple of puddings. That's all right. But if you have a yogurt, that's still just as good, just not as sweet.
No. I sometimes I have the tube ones.
Oh, do you know what? I had the tube because they have the little tube, but then they also have the drink. But I do like the little drinks. Do you remember the Yaz? I think they were Yazoo drinks, and you could just drink the yogurt.
Oh
They were
yeah.
nice, the drinky yogurts. But then I like where you just get the plain yogurt and you just get the fruit, and then you just put the fruit on top, a little bit of honey on top, and you can put a little bit of nuts on there. You can have that for breakfast. It is so nice.
Mhm.
Like a continental breakfast, I think they call it in Europe. Continental breakfast with a little pancake on the side.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much things you can have. I mean, there's so much we could talk about. We could do a whole different episode about just talking about food, couldn't
Yeah, we could actually. We was also talking about, you were saying about, the last time when you was gonna have people on the show and try something,
we? Yeah.
like chew a bit of ice and see how you reacted. Are you still gonna do that for your show?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
listening to that too.
But by the time this is out, it would have been. But
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think.
Okay.
Because this one will get released in May because
Yeah.
I feel like it's a good time. 'Cause I know I don't want our both our because I came on yours. I don't want our both ones released at the same time so they can have a bit of
I get you.
um
Double
yeah
promo,
yeah
basically. I
yes
know
we
exactly.
do it at
Smart.
different times.
I get you. Very smart.
Um, but yeah, definitely. Um, but so yeah, so you've learned something new today around IBD and IBS.
I have indeed. And I just want to say thank you for that. And before we go, can you just explain to the listeners what actually is the difference between IBS and IBD? Just
Okay.
in case they didn't get it. Oh, I
Yeah.
did.
Okay. So as far as I know, IBD stands for inflammatory bowel disease, and
Yeah.
IBS is inflammatory bowel syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So does
and
the syndrome go? Does the syndrome
um,
come and go? And does the disease stay permanently? Is that the difference, or is it the severity of it?
as far as sort what I'm aware of, that certain with IBD, that IBD can you're more susceptible to having surgery or
Okay.
needing more tablets. I think you'll
Yeah,
still need tablets for IBS, but it's more treatable than IBD.
I get you.
Um,
Okay. That makes
so
sense.
so
And
it
it's not.
makes sense to what you said earlier that you felt that maybe IBD was a bit worse than IBS.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't like to say it's worse because everyone has a different experience. So I'm
true.
not as sure about IBS because I don't have it, but I think maybe dairy's a lot more dairy maybe for IBS than you maybe would
More
for IBD.
tolerable. Yeah, more tolerant. My body's more tolerant to that maybe than what yours would be. Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting. Really
yeah.
interesting.
But in the community, some people do get. I guess it's a common misconception with the both that people maybe presume because it's got the
What it
word
does.
probably IB. It starts with
Yeah.
IB in both, and they probably
Yeah.
presume it.
Well, I just thought it was the same word, but some people use this and some people use that. You know what how society is today. Like one person can say
Yeah.
this word and then someone else can say that word and it still means the same thing. So I'm like, okay, that's me with my dyslexia. I thought they were all the same. Clearly, they say you learn something new every day. Well, I certainly have today again.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks, Mason.
Yeah, but like what you said, I can I'm not like a professional, but from you
Yeah.
saying about getting blood and having that a colonoscopy, having the drink and doing all that kind of stuff. A lot of people with IBD have that. I don't know about IBS as much. People might, but it does. I think you probably have both
Maybe that's
in
part
a
of the
sense.
diagnosis, right? Maybe that's part of them figuring out, oh, have you got this or have you got that? So I think maybe
Yes.
they might put it on the same like treatment just to see, okay, have they got this or haven't they got that? And then they
Yeah.
figure out one, okay, maybe she hasn't got IBD, she's got IBS. So
Maybe.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe. And you've got Crohn's affects from your mouth or your eyes to your bottom of your body to your
right,
bum.
all the way down, all the way
Yeah,
down.
all the way down. It can affect all the way down, and ulcerative colitis. It from the colon
Yeah, okay,
as well. So I have a bit of both. Like we talk about a bit of both.
yeah, that's interesting.
I have ulcerative colitis and Crohn's, but more
Yeah,
Crohn's than colitis.
bless
Um,
you.
but I've got a bit of both.
Yeah, but
Um,
you know how to manage it now, and you kind of you can live with it, and it's
yeah.
not too much problems, is it?
Like I've never had surgery because of my Crohn's or
Yeah,
anything like that. I'm quite lucky at the moment.
yeah. Touch
Um,
wood.
yeah, but
Really.
probably in my life I might need, I
Yeah.
don't know, surgery or a stoma. Um,
That's the bag, isn't it? That
yeah,
hangs
that's the
outside.
bag. Yes, the
Oh,
bag. Yeah,
that's really hard.
yeah, it's hard. Lots of people in the IBD community show it off. Are very confident about it, but I don't know if I could be. If I ever had one, I don't know if I would be able to do that. Um, but yeah. I know lots of people that have one and have had
Yeah.
surgery lots of times.
Oh,
Um,
that must be really traumatic, though. I think I saw a swimmer who had a stoma bag and they actually swam across the English Channel. And it might
brilliant.
have been the first person with a stoma bag. It wasn't that long ago, actually. And I thought, good on her.
Yeah,
Good. I think she swam across the English Channel. And it was a lady as well. And I thought, oh, bless her. She was kind of raising awareness of stoma bags because I think, there's also a stigma attached around that. And it
yeah.
must be hard because it's kind of a private thing. Because don't they kind of put your stomach on the outside, like kind of in the bag? I don't know how it kind of works, but
As I'm confused by it as well. I think some people call it a Barbie butt, and sometimes it's not permanent.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, so you're basically having your waist in it. So
yeah,
but you don't need to go sit on the toilet anymore.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, which I don't know. I quite like sitting on the toilet sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I think we all
yeah,
take it for
you just miss
granted,
it.
but I think we'd all miss it if we didn't.
Yeah, you miss it and.
Yeah.
You have that feeling, and it probably just feels totally different.
Yeah, I can imagine. You probably might not even feel it at all. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this it's really interesting
Yeah,
about that.
really, really interesting. And thank you again for like raising it and highlighting all these topics because I think we need to do more. We need to understand it more.
Yeah,
Still need to figure it out for themselves. And I think
definitely.
the more aware they become, then they can go and get help for themselves as well.
Yeah. Is there any last things that you want to say on
Um,
today?
I just want to say thank you, and I really appreciate talking to you all the time. And it just seems so relaxed, and I don't know, it just seems, always nice to talk to you. And I appreciate everything you do,
Yeah.
for the community and for everyone else as well.
Yeah, I try and make everyone feel as relaxed as they can.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Um, to anyone listening, anyone watching, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. And we will. I say we, but you might. It may be we. But I'll see you in the next one. Um, I don't have a clue what it's going to be about, but we'll see when it's out.
Drum roll, please. And thank you,
Yeah.
everyone. It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you.